So, guys, there are these arcade one-up cabinets that I'm sure you've seen. They're exclusively to Walmart, and you can order them online. And I've never seen one of these in person. I've never played one or touched one, or I've just never seen one up close. But I've been reading a lot about them. I'm into arcade games, and I have some machines in my house, and I like them. So I said, wow, this looks interesting. They're offering these arcade games. And the only thing I seen that, looked a little off to me was that they're not too tall, is the size of them, right? They're very small. And I said, why are they that small? What's the reason? So from what I'm reading is, I guess this company, Arcade One Up, was only able to, I guess, make these games and I guess, use the rights for them if they made them that size. So I don't know if it was a specific company, like I don't know if it was Bally Midway or, Namco or anything like that. But the agreement that they made with these companies is they were allowed to, make the games and use the art. And I'm not even sure if they are the original ROMs, because I've been reading where some people say that they are the original arcade ROMs and some people saying that they're not the original arcade ROMs. But I guess the only way they were able to make these games, they had to make them, 1/4 of the size or whatever it is. So these things are particle board. It's like compressed cardboard, basically. And if they wanted to, they probably could have made it, regular standard size. Wouldn't take much. This is like IKEA type furniture stuff where you kind of just, screwing bolts in together and it kind of fits. I'm not sure how sturdy it is or isn't. The videos I've seen on YouTube, the people seem to like them. There's been some things about like paint and, the controllers and things like that, but it seems like overwhelming the videos I have seen or I have watched. The people seem to be happy with them. Now, they're probably not getting, tremendous gameplay. There's people that are going into like a Walmart and filming one of these things in a Walmart and they're beat up. But if they're in a Walmart, they're probably on, I would say, 12 hours a day, maybe 16 to 18 hours a day. And people from kids to adults are probably just beating the crap out of them. They're probably going hard on them. And if that screen is running all day and the joystick is being, yanked and pulled, and that'll definitely cause some wear and tear. When I had like arcade games, big ones, the real ones, in a store, a candy store, every week, I would have to do something. It was a button, it was a joystick, it was this, it was that, coin mech. And, those are, commercial grade, I guess you could say. Those are like 400 pound machines, and everything is made of metal for the most part. Like, a Pac-Man or a Miss Pac-Man, that joystick is made of metal. If it's a Galaxian or a Galaga, that's a metal joystick. That's, it's not cheap. The buttons are usually high grade. It's good. And those would even break. So now you have something that may not be, it's not like an arcade type of button or joystick, but they're doing the best they can. If they're getting beat up and they're getting, jerked around, and, sometimes people just like to go and do, because it's there in Walmart and it's sitting out there for free. People do all sorts of stuff. So I can see those machines getting a little roughed up. But my main point is from what I understand is those machines were only allowed to be made and use, the artwork and I guess whatever ROM or ROMs that they're using if they were made at that small size. Because I mean, this Arcade One Up company could easily make that particle board or make it where it's, a regular size. Even when you put those lifts on it, they have those One Up lifts. Those don't even kind of come up to, if you're an average size adult, and an average size adult, I don't know, was like 5'9", 5'10", right? That's kind of like an average size, or 5'8". It's usually between 5'8" and 5'10". Those still come up a little bit short. Now, what I do like about those Arcade One-Ups is it's the perfect size for kids. If you have like a 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old kid, those are perfect. I even thought of buying one. You know, we have small machines. They're called Moppets, or I call them Muppets, but they're called Moppet machines. I have a video on them where the machine is specifically made for little kids, like little kids that are 4 or 5 years old. Different from a cabaret. A cabaret is still made for adult. It just has like the top cut off. But you have these Moppet machines, which are actually made for little kids. These are great sizes for them. I might pick up a Pac-Man just to have in my house. So they're great for kids. And that is definitely the good point about this, is that you can get kids that are young, that are 4, 5, 6 years old, instead of this, you know, all these Nintendos and Xboxes and these games that are crazy. They can, you know, start to maybe play, you know, Pac-Man or, Space Invaders or Galaga, which is, those games are really good with hand-eye coordination and pattern recognition, and those are real important. Teach your kids hand-eye coordination and coordination and pattern recognition from an early age. It's a very good skill to have and to acquire. And sometimes you might not get that from, like, you know, a Nintendo, you know, one of these Switch or Wii games, or maybe from an Xbox or PlayStation games. Those games are good too. This is just different. This is, you know, Pac-Man is real straightforward. You know, you're just going around the maze, you're avoiding ghosts, you learn the pattern. Sometimes you repeat the pattern, and, you know, you're just getting to the next level, and it's about a high score type of thing. So that is it. I like these one-ups. I think they're good because I think they're going to introduce a lot of young kids to older school video games, and that's great. You know, to have, you know, a new generation play Pac-Man and like Pac-Man or Space Invaders. There's a lot of good games. You know, even the Street Fighter, that's a real straightforward game. It's just, you know, one person versus another, and you're mashing buttons to see who wins. So I think that they're good. I understand what people are saying about, you know, quality control and paint and all sorts of stuff like that, but it seems like people are happy with them. I like the Centipede, that it's a trackball, because usually when you're playing Centipede, or you used to, if you had to do Centipede in the house, you were playing with a joystick, and it wasn't the right feel. And I'm hoping that whatever issues they do have, because I've heard issues about the trackball, and there's the pedometer. On Tempest is a thing that they call it the dialer. There's something with that, the way it doesn't work like the arcade or whatever. Asteroids, for you to really play Asteroids and appreciate it, it's not played with a joystick. You got to use those buttons, and it's a totally different gaming experience when you're playing something like Asteroids with just buttons. You got to use your fingers to control that ship than you would maybe a joystick. So I think all these things are good. But yes, like, subscribe. Oh, comment. I'm saying like and subscribe. Comment if you know anything more about these one-up games, or you know maybe there's a different reason. Like I said, I read all these different tech blogs. I don't know if it was anything official from this arcade one-up saying, you know, why they were that small. I mean, they've said, you know, it's a cost. You know, they're trying to keep them, cost effective and things like that, and I understand that. I appreciate that. Most people, you know, if you were to buy a regular size Pac-Man machine that was in good condition, probably spending, depending on where you are, I would say between $800 and $1,000. That's what I would say. Definitely. I mean, could you get that, you know, gem in the rough where you find like a Pac-Man or some sort of Asteroids or something where somebody's giving it away for like $200? I've seen that, but usually these machines run, I don't know, working in decent order. You'll get them for $800, and sometimes you have to do things to them, and you'll find stuff like on Facebook. Oh, I seen something the other day where the guy was writing, he had a Centipede machine, and he had like $500. And then I guess people went to look at it, but it needed stuff, you know, whatever. You have to cap kit it. You have to sometimes do the joysticks over. I mean, there's all sorts of issues. You can get real picky about, you know, things like the control panel and the art and the paint and all that type of stuff. As for this, is kind of just, it's right there. And if you're not somebody that's familiar or know how to make a game or do like a MAME or something like that. This is a great thing for you. And they look like they're fun. And especially for kids, a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, 6, that would be amazing, right? And, the parents would be playing it just as much as the kids. So that's kind of my little take on it. If you know anything else about these machines or you want to add something, definitely add it. What else? It's a couple of days before. It's right in that holiday season. Thanksgiving is like a day away. You got Christmas coming up. These things are coming out. Black Friday, there's supposed to be like a big sale with these things. I would probably buy one. I would buy one, but I don't know. I don't know if I would spend $300 for it. I guess because maybe I have some of these games. I just don't see myself doing that. I don't know. $100. Maybe I buy one for $100. I mean, you could build one, kind of, if you kind of went on YouTube, there's like a little bit of know-how. You probably could put one together yourself if you kind of knew how to, finagle the computer and play with MAME. But I don't know, 100, maybe $150. I think that would tempt me to buy one. And I'd probably buy like the Centipede one because I like Centipede and I like Pac-Man. Those are two of my favorite games. So that would definitely intrigue me. I think I've got Street Fighter between the regular size arcade, and I think I have it for almost every system that I have in my house. I got like Street Fighter for everything. I got it for like Super Nintendo, Genesis, PlayStation. I got it. I got all these anniversary editions. I got Street Fighter up the wazoo. So I don't know if I would buy the Street Fighter machine, but playing Street Fighter in the arcade is a lot different. It's a different experience, right, with that arcade and the buttons and the joy and the whole thing, than it is playing it like on your your D-pad, right? It's a whole different deal. It's a different feel. It's a whole different experience playing Street Fighter. And I think Street Fighter is actually more fun in the arcade on an arcade machine with the the 6 buttons and the joystick. Sometimes when you're playing it on one of these systems, like a PlayStation or an Xbox, you have like 4 buttons and then these 2 left and right back type buttons. It's fun. You can play it, but I've always enjoyed the like a bigger Street Fighter. The big cabinet, those big Z cabinets. Those are the cabinets I used to have. Those are the ones I like. They're like 500 pounds, but they're okay. You don't want to take those up a flight of stairs or down a flight of stairs. It doesn't matter. So that's really it. That's my take on this Arcade 1-Up. Like and subscribe, comment. God bless you. Hope all is well. Have a good holiday. Have a good Christmas, Black Friday, Thanksgiving, and whatever other holiday you celebrate. And that is it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay. Bye-bye.